Good morning to everyone on this Wednesday, March the 4th, 1970. And it's a rainy day here in Blountstown. Yes, it's raining this morning. It started early, and one of those late winter rains, perhaps, and maybe the spring rains will not be so hard as they have this winter. Old Apalachicola River reading is on 9.32.
Trying to keep up with some of the other things, the annual meeting of the Calhoun County Chamber of Commerce will be held March the 12th at 7 p.m. in the Blountstown High School cafeteria. Congressman Don Fuquay from Alpha will be our guest speaker. Don is the congressman representing the 2nd Congressional District of Florida, and of course we are hoping for a big turnout for that Chamber of Commerce meeting at that time.
Maxie Waldorf. I was born in 1933, about 3 miles from my present home in Alpha.
My name is Roy Golden, Jr. I was born in October of 1925.
I'm Geraldine Elias Barnes Sheard. I was born 12/29/37.
Alice Nell Jones Leonard. May the 29th, 1916, I'm older than dirt.
My name is Dr. Andrew Boggs Ramsey, Sr., and I was born in 1932.
My name is Willie Howard Johnson. I was born October 30, 1926, in the Red Oak community in Calhoun County. There was a time when there were 8 stores in Clarksville, including a drugstore. You had the J.I. Smith, the Phillips, the Tate, the Clark store. The Clarks had a huge store there, and they had a commissary with a J.I. Smith. He had his own money. So there was time when it was 8, and we had one doctor living there, Dr. B.B. Reeder. He delivered most of the children at home in those days. The nearest hospital would be Dothan or Panama City, so they had to go to Dothan or either have home delivery, and that's what most people did. There was a dirt road through Blountstown right on through until 1935 when they paved that road. And of course, in the 1930s, they built the first concrete bridge across the Chipotle River. Before that, it was called Steel Bridge, and before that, it was Ferry.
Yeah, we had a wonderful high school. We had good teachers. You know, it was a depression. We had a couple of doctorates, and we really had a good high school. But there were 4 of us that were fighting hard for the top left. Harry Wilson, and he said, "I'm going to be valedictorian." I said, "Yeah, on my dead body you will." So, and he was smarter than I was, but he more diligent than he was. So, I ended up valedictorian, and he was salutatorian. We really did have a good high school. You know, Bowles Field was built when I was in high school, and Coach Bowles was probably one of those popular coaches that ever lived. Don just loved it. He played football, and we had a good football team for a long time, but a long time ago, yeah, we had a good girls basketball team. In fact, we had some really good athletes in Calhoun County. You know, do y'all ever think about how little we are and how many famous people came out of Blountstown High School? And that the Jones drugstore was actually right next to the bank. And he stayed there until Mama got sick, and he sold it to Roy Golden.
My dad was a farmer. He farmed, and it was moved from there. He ran for county commissioner about that time, and we moved out to another location in Macedonia. It's about 6 miles, I guess, from where he lived and where he was born. He was born there too. World War II came along, and he was a county commissioner at that time for Calhoun County, and he also had a friend out here that was opening up a store, and he could put in and joined forces with him, and they opened up the hardware, and it was a general merchandise store. They had meat market and anything you wanted, just about it, for a small town and without much money. Nobody had any money. They had a drugstore. Mr. Richards, the founder that discovered the town, set up the town. He had a drugstore, and we had a bus that came through here all the time, the Lee's coach line, and it would run from Mariana to Alpha, and we'd get on it every Saturday afternoon and watch an afternoon movie, and then a regular movie, and then a midnight show. So, Liddon and Turnbull came to town and built a nice store. It was made out of lime rock, and it was had just about everything. They had clothing. They bought and sold products off the farms, and they were hauled out on the train at times, watermelons and cucumbers and that kind of thing. And we had a cucumber plant there that bought all that right by the railroad. That was Mr. Floyd that lived in Bluntstown. And he did that for several years. And we had a blacksmith shop, filling stations. We had 2 of those. It was Jesse Bowden was a long life operator. The M&B came in about the time the store was built, and they would buy products from the farmers, cucumbers.
Grew up in Bluntstown. I went to Mayhall Elementary School and then the Mayhall Middle School. I lived, first I lived in Smutty Quarters, and I walked to the school down on River Street. Then we moved in an area near River Street so that it would be more accessible to our walking to school. I was drawn to Hugh Creek because of they have big, huge oak trees down there in Hugh Creek. And my uncle and aunt lived down there, and I would spend the weekends with them down there in Hugh Creek. And I said, when I get grown, I'm going to move down here with these trees, and I worked toward that. I bought property from Mr. Pick Hollinger, and I moved my house down there.
When I was in Jones Drugstore, remembering back across the street, looking out the front door of the drugstore, there was Ramsey Malloy had a grocery store, and eventually Sam Wommel's, and M.C. Eldridge had a department store. John Hall and his son Carl had a barbershop upstairs that had offices of different kinds. And then a Pridgeon boy right on the corner where the Diamond Corner is now had a store, kind of a dime store, and different articles. And then on the corner was a service station. In fact, there was one on each of the corners on the south side of 20. And Dr. Burns had a office on the corner in the other. I built my house and the drugstore at the same time, and to help draw a crowd and get publicity, I decided, since I had quite a few cows, I'd give a steer away, and maybe that would draw a big crowd. I put this steer that had never been pinned up before into my pickup, parked it out in front of the drugstore, and that steer, he didn't like that at all. And he was stomping and snorting and carrying on all the time, and it attracted a lot of attention.
First Ramsey store started at where the old Swanee store was in the old Bailey two-story building with the back of it opened up at the lake. And then they moved from there to Tom McClellan building, new two-story building, which was across from Jones Drugstore. And we were in the middle store, and there was another grocery store on the end and barber shop. And so there was no parking or anything, but we had plenty of people. People would come in on the back of trucks. The truck would have 50 people in it, from Kynard and Frank and all in there. And so we had a midnight show, and a midnight show, if you weren't there at midnight, you couldn't get a seat. So many people you couldn't even walk down the street of Bluntstown because there were so many people walking up and down the street, it was hard to even walk. And we saw the Cowboys come. I saw Hopalong Cassidy come to Bluntstown. I saw Gene Autry come to Bluntstown. All those people came to Bluntstown. And they always had sellouts. And they would, and later on, when they built the high school, they had an auditorium in the top story of the high school, and that's where they held most of these. But when I was 12 years old, I started wearing shoes. My grandfather always had a new pair of shoes. When he got up in the morning, he ate breakfast, he picked up his shoes, new pair of shoes, and he carried them in his hand to the trading post. Put them on the shelf, and when he got through the day, he'd go back, he would take them off the shelf, he'd lock the door, and he'd walk home. So he just had one pair of shoes, but they were always new.
I have loved living in Calhoun County.
I have loved living in Calhoun County.
I love living in Calhoun County.
I love living in Calhoun County.
I have enjoyed and loved and been blessed living in Calhoun County.
I have loved living in Calhoun County nearly 100 years.
I believe the best days of Calhoun County are still yet to come.
I believe that Calhoun County's best years are yet to come.
The better times are yet to come for Calhoun County.
I think living in Calhoun County is great, and I just have hope and believe that the best days for the people of Calhoun County are yet ahead of us.
The best is yet to be for Calhoun County.